Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
What's happening, my friends? Welcome back to podcast 65 of 2018. And my oh my, 2018 has just flown right by. It is Christmas season. I hope you're enjoying it. I am your host, Kiev O'Neil. You can tweet me at The Public Dog, and you can tweet us at The Odds Breakers. Bowl season is upon us, and we have some plays for you. We have a fantastic show. Going to go over my plays. Going to go over some of Cub Fan Danny's NFL. Cub Fan Danny did pretty well in the UFC last weekend. And hopefully we can all sit back, enjoy these games, and get some winners. This episode is being brought to you by mybookie.ag. For a one-time 50% bonus, please visit MyBookie and use the promo code TheOddsBreakers. Should you like to help us out with our costs, we would love to help you out. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a member. And for $12.99 a month, you will get our premium picks when we make the plays before the line moves. For only $2 more, you can have all that and become a patron subscriber and get our podcast a little bit early in most cases. If nothing else, please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a free picks newsletter subscriber. We are also still looking for more cappers to blog on our site, possibly become guests. If you are a capper and want to get your name out there, please visit theoddsbreakers.com and contact us. Want to recap some of our plays first for this weekend that we covered in our last post. So, starting out with the AutoNation Cure Bowl, Tulane versus Louisiana. We like Louisiana plus 3.5. Hook has to be there. We also lean over 59 for the New Mexico Bowl. North Texas versus Utah State. We like North Texas, or we leaned North Texas plus 9, but it's all the way down to plus 7 now. We'll probably lean it to 7, and that's about it. Looks like a sharp side on North Texas as well. For the Camellia Bowl, I'm missing one. The Las Vegas Bowl, Arizona State versus Fresno State. We like ASU, but waiting to bet that until everybody gets on Fresno State. And for the Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama, Eastern Michigan versus Georgia Southern, we like Georgia Southern -1 in this one. The New Orleans Bowl, lean Appalachian State -7. So that's kind of our recap for this weekend's bowls that we covered on the last podcast. So hopefully you got ahead of some of those lines. Let's move on to college bowls of December 18th through the 21st. And real quick, wanted to announce Will Grier last weekend decided he's not going to play in his bowl game. I totally understand that. He's going to be one of the top quarterbacks picked. And it's not the biggest game in the world, obviously. So, his health is pretty important, and he decided to forego that. And as soon as that happened, that spread dropped, like from -7 all the way down to -1.5 against Syracuse. So just quickly wanted to announce that. On December 18th, we have the Boca Raton Bowl, and you have Northern Illinois against UAB. Northern Illinois is getting 2.5 points. Over-unders at like 43. I must say, if you ask me which two teams that are playing each other are probably the most similar, this would probably be my first choice. Both teams pound the ball really well. pretty good. Let's say they have very good defenses stopping both the pass and the run. Neither team can throw the ball that well. But Northern Illinois, this year, they have a knack for comebacks at the end of the game. They have, and that's how they won a lot of their games. And you saw them beat Buffalo for the MAC championship that way, to our chagrin. Now, the Huskies won a lot of games for just having like 4.6 yards per play. It's pretty low. But they definitely played a much harder schedule than the Blaze. UAB averages 5.6 yards per play. Okay? Both defenses allow about the same 4.7-ish yards per play, but NIU's schedule ranks 73rd in the nation, and UAB ranks 131st. Being that this total is 43 points, you can see that it's not going to be a fast-paced, high-flying game. It's going to be very trenchy, very defensive-oriented. Teams are going to be looking for turnovers, hopefully. Field position type game. You're probably going to see a lot of punts. Because of this and the teams being so similar, I just lean to the team getting points here. The fact that NIU is getting 2.5 points, I lean to them. I know they're 0-5 in bowl games, ATS and straight up with their coach Carey, but they might be wanting to step it up this time. If UAB was getting the 2.5 points, I'd probably be leaning UAB as well. They got their butts kicked last year in their bowl game, but I do not see much of a difference in these teams. So my play is really just a lean Northern Illinois plus 2.5, and I actually still lean to the under 43 points here. The Frisco Bowl in Frisco, Texas. You have San Diego State versus Ohio. And Ohio's getting 3 points. Or they're not getting, they're giving 3 points. And the over-under is 54. Looking at these two teams, you can easily see that they have both finished completely opposite of each other. Ohio, since losing to Northern Illinois by a few points, ripped off 5 wins out of their last 6 games, beating teams like Buffalo, Akron, and Western Michigan by pretty large margins. San Diego State, on the other hand, has lost 4 of their last 5 games against teams like UNLV, Hawaii, and Nevada. All right. Now, the Aztecs are a lot like Northern Illinois. They really are. San Diego State, they don't have much of a passing game. They run the ball. They play some defense. Actually, a very good defense. They have a slight weakness against the run, but a pretty boring offense, averaging just 5.5 yards per play, giving about 5 yards per play on D. Ohio has a great offense. It's great. Lots of senior leadership there. They average 7 yards per play, and they give up about 6.2. Okay? So why the low spread here? Well, it's because San Diego State has better wins against teams like ASU, Eastern Michigan, Boise State, and Air Force. If San Diego State can run the ball, then they control this game. They control the clock, making it very tough on Ohio. I ran this through the old algorithm, and it came up with Ohio by 7.5, not 3, with a total of 55 here. But I do not want to, not quite ready to take this side yet if the Aztecs can pound the ball well against this really poor Ohio defense. Because if that's the case, Ohio's going to, be one-dimensional and, possibly lose the clock battle, the time of possession in this game. This game has live betting really written all over it, I think. I kind of like Ohio, but if it goes down to 2.5, I might fire. But I'll tell you right now, this says live betting. Whoever scores first, possibly, or if you can kind of just see if San Diego State can establish the run. If they cannot establish the run the first drive, you might want to go ahead and live bet Ohio. So my lean right now is Ohio -3. The Gasparilla Bowl is our next one. Played on December 20th. Tampa Bay, Florida, you have Marshall versus South Florida. South Florida is getting plus 2.5 points. Over under is 55.5. Now, this bowl should have been called the Unfair Bowl, similar to last year's Wisconsin versus Miami played at Hard Rock Stadium. I'm not sure why the bowl committee does this. But it is what it is, right? South Florida gets to play their bowl at home in their stadium, okay? Well, Marshall will have to hope some of their fans will show up having to travel about 900 miles. Now, I would call Marshall a solid, better than average team on both sides of the ball at about 5.5 yards per play, allowing 4.75. Maybe more closer to solid than better than average. But South Florida, on the other hand, has a better offense. They get about 6 yards per play, but they have a worse defense. They give up about 5.75 yards per play. South Florida is a running team, right? They get about 5 yards per carry on the ground, and Marshall gets about 4.4. But the rushing game kind of plays into Marshall's strength because Marshall on defense, like I said, they allow only 4.75 yards per play, but per run, they only allow 2.9 yards per run, which is the top 5th team in the nation out of 130 teams, top 5, stopping the run. Now, South Florida played the easier part of their schedule in the beginning. They racked up 7 wins in a row, if you remember, 7-0. Some of those games were a little lucky. But when the competition got better, they went on a 5-game losing streak and squeaked into bowl appearance being 7-5. None of those games were close. They got their butts kicked. I'm going to handicap this game based on complete stats with South Florida as a home field. So I'm just going to look at it as Marshall's traveling to South Florida on their home field. And I think that's the way to do it because I don't see a ton of Marshall people going to this bowl game. Maybe some, but my numbers are Marshall is going to get about 28 points to South Florida's 26.5. Being that the spread is Marshall -2 points, -2.5, and the total is about 55.5, which I came up to 54.5 at 28 to 26.5. I really do not have a play in this game. And I guess I would lean to the under because of the big rushing attack you see here, which should run the clock. So if you're looking for a play from me in this, my lean is to the under 55.5. I think, you give the coaching advantage to Doc over Charlie Strong, but in this case, just being a home game, that might give him a little extra motivation here. Lean under 55.5 points. December 21st, the Bahamas Bowl in Nassau, Bahamas. Florida International versus Toledo, -5.5. Over under is 68.5. Pretty high. I have to admit it that I took this one early. I got +6. So it's a play. This is one of those spots where you try and guess the motivation. Okay. Now, I know it's hard to guess that, but I'm going to take a shot here. Toledo worked hard